everyone. So even if today, you reach out to somebody, say hello, see how they're doing, it could totally make their day. So I'd really like to encourage that piece. Allie, what are we seeing? I see phone calls from grandparents, funny coworkers. Did anybody say us? I think somebody said this, so I'll take that as a win.
Yeah, yeah, we
Lots
got
of
that.
texting and FaceTiming. So something that's
Naked
interesting.
coworker.
I'm not too sure I want to know about naked coworkers, but I appreciate the comment. So one thing that's come out of this for me is I sent Zoom to all of my family members, and we're having a family Zoom night tonight on Friday evening with all of like the grandkids and grandparents and stuff
That's
like
awesome.
that. And after that, the kids are going to go to sleep, and we're going to bust out a little bit of alcohol, maybe a bit of whiskey, and the parents are just going to kind of hang around and chat a little bit. So it's just a way for us to kind of stay connected and keep that human piece going as much as we can in this time, because my grandparents are at really high risk if they catch it. So as my mom works at the front line, so she's a nurse and she's devastated that she can't see the kids, but we're using these virtual spaces for as much as we can. So today really is all about how to have awesome meetings and really making sure that they're not boring, keeping the engagement high, a lot of fun, but as well as creating action and moving things forward. So like with every session, we do mention that AHS has an enterprise account with Zoom. We've received a couple emails where people are wondering, it only says I got 40 minutes. You send a quick email to this address that Allie's going to drop in the chat box, and as well as we'll make sure that it's in the email that goes out after. And all you have to say is you want your account upgraded from the 40-minute meetings to unlimited, and they will do that relatively quick for you. So connect to that email. If you're not in AHS and you don't have access to the full enterprise account, don't worry, there is still the basic free one where you can still have these 40-minute meetings. And I encourage you to just give it a go. It's not Zoo. AHS Zoo, that's a Freudian slip if I've ever seen one. Anyways, we're going to continue on. So we've already went over all the tools with you. So really basic interest to things. The trust, we did that yesterday, and how do you engage teams and get them to keep coming and be open to share things. And today, now it's all about techniques. And this is the types of meetings we were brainstorming yesterday as a team. Like, what were the meetings that we always get invited to? And we kind of do like a big, like a shiver. We're like, okay, do we really want to be part of this? So, we've come up with these 6, and we've put it into a poll. So I'm going to launch it for all of you, and I would love for you to answer this. What's the type of meetings that you think you spend the most amount of time in? Is it an information, a check-in, status, update? Asking for opinions, but only for optics. Maybe it is that meeting before the meeting, or give work to everyone but yourself, or the delegation meeting. And after you answer it, I would love to know what's the one that kind of grinds your gears or bother you. We should have had all of the above. If it's all of the above, throw it in the chat box for us. Oh, the answer,
Josh,
information sharing.
could you share the results on? Can people see
Yeah.
the results?
Yeah, I have to end the polling before them to. Only 44% of people have voted. So I'm just give you guys another, I'd say 15 seconds to answer one. Ooh, the no agenda. Most of the above. If you see one that you're familiar with that you don't see on our list, again, just drop it in the chat box for us. I'm going to give 5 more seconds to vote. 4, 3, 2, 1, and all right. Share results. So can everybody, Ali, can you see this now?
No, I can, but that's okay as long as people can see it.
It's on the screen. I got a thumbs up from Jenna. Thank you, Jenna. I appreciate that. So information sharing. This is one of the ones that people see the most. I'm really not surprised, but I always like to ask my group, like, what is something? And the poll tool is a really great way to do it relatively quickly. And these are the types of meetings that we love. These are the ones where we try to encourage people to do these specific things. And these are the ones where like we get excited to go to. Like for me personally, the problem framing one, I love it when someone is like, this is a problem that we think we have. or this is something we think that we need to work on. And I look forward to going to these and participating in them.
Right. And so what I guys want you to do actually is look at this pencil and type in the chat box all the questions that come to your head when you start looking at this pencil. Just type it away. It could be, why is this yellow? Why does it say HB? What does that stand for? Why is it always long and hexagonish? Why do you need it? So I'll give you guys about 5 seconds to type in your questions. Who's in charge of
Ooh,
sharpening the pencil?
who sharpened the pencil?
Right. See, you guys already generated these questions. And the reason why we kind of do this exercise, if you have done this in with a lot of teams and even opening up in your problem framing kind of meetings, is teams have a tendency right now to really jump to problem solving and just going to solutions right away. And we want to use to pause that and stay in the curious mindset. And so in virtual meetings, how do you get people to start being still being curious? Pose a question, a really open-ended one to really challenge some of the assumptions and saying, why is this the way? And so kind of going to the why. So allow that question to come in your virtual meetings right off the bat before you start jumping into like explaining the problem. Just ask them, what do they think the problem is? So instead of going into that explanation piece. Next slide, Josh. And so one of the things that we like to do with the problem framing is helping people shift the way they think about a problem. So, you know, for us, the biggest thing is going from online meetings that can be boring. You're trying to reframe them, saying how can we make it an engaging space and make the meeting fun and productive. We use this language that you probably might have seen before. How might we? And how might we is just a frame of starting a question where how really means is that you're open to solving the problem. Might is that you're not stuck on a single solution. So you can have multiple solutions, and V is the collective one. So on your virtual meetings, when you're trying to engage and trying to solve a problem, start with the how might we and saying, how might we, you know, make COVID great again? That was a bad but it is one of those things that's like opening up that discussion and really making people comfortable with it. So the next slide, please, Josh. So we will send you guys this problem framing worksheet. We did a little bit of a problem framing exercise in our previous webinars where we did the TRIZ, where we kind of flipped the problem on its head saying, how might we fail at this? So those are quick questions that you can pose in your virtual meetings to really get them to start thinking differently about a problem. We will send the link to this problem worksheet. You guys can do this prior to your virtual meeting or even during it as walk through the questions with the team using the chat box or even the annotate function to let them to do this. So we wanted to just give that little tip of how you can start making your problem framing meetings actually more productive.
So Ali did mention a TRIZ, and if anyone here in this space knows me, knows that I love liberating structures. It's not what you think. If you go www.liberatingstructures.com, which we will send you guys in the email as well as the chat box, it's a list of fantastic tools that you can use both in person and virtually to really open up the space, allow teams to think differently. And the one that you've experienced with us already is a TRIZ. We call it a dirty TRIZ because it's really quick and really rapid, but it's a great way to get teams to open up, to think about something a little bit differently, and it creates some of that open space to speak. Sorry, Ali. That leads into me. Who in this room has ever been part of a brainstorming session? Put a Y or an N in your chat box just so I can see it. I want to see all those answers just flood in. Tons of yeses. Who's got into a brainstorming session and thought, I really wish I wasn't part of this brainstorming session? You put me if you have. Yes, never. Oh,
amen.
Okay. So I love it when I get the inviting to a brainstorming session. I have issues with how sometimes that they're run. So I got some really quick tools and easy things that you guys can use to guide along. I'm not going to go through all of them because some of them are a little bit obvious, like one conversation at a time or staying focused. The one I want to touch on, or the two I should say, is the first one is go for quantity. This is all about getting everything that you can think of out there. It doesn't matter if you think it's really wild or crazy or if it's a bad idea. We always encourage, like, Ali's already put it in the chat box. Don't censor yourself. If you thought it, put it down on paper, or in the virtual space. Use that annotate button. Throw it up on the wall so everyone can see it. It really I love that, Kristen. All ideas are good ideas. Exactly. And we can build off of each other. The important piece is really great ones. They're going to start to float to the top. You're going to see these ones where you're like, okay, the team's starting to agree that this thing's really, really interesting. And the next one is that idea of wild ideas. And we always say that, like, oh, come up with the craziest ideas that you can. Be a little bit more concrete. Just say to your team, if you were 10% bolder, what would your idea be? Just make it feel, a little bit more bold. Just have them try to go a little bit bigger and even encourage it. You see an idea down, you're like, okay, great, go bigger. Like, what else could we do? And it really encourages the team to kind of keep going. And that idea of permission, right? We are all here to just try things and talk it through. And that's how you're going to run a really fantastic brainstorming session, is by embracing these. So we're going to actually do that right now. We're going to do some brainstorming as a group. So I'm going to turn on the annotate button again, and I want to know, what could we use instead of toilet paper? So I'm going to allow you to annotate.
We're giving you permission to go wild.
So if you go up in the top box there or the drop down, you will see the annotate button. Please use the text box, okay? Oh, look at this. Bidet, bidet, bidet. Ali, it's your crew.
You got bidet on lock, man.
Bidet. Oh, Lee's magazines.
Bounty.
Old T-shirts. I love that. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Baby diaper.
Like this suggestion, just don't poop. We're going to run out of food. We'll just eat less food and we'll poop less.
Yo, the best one, dryer lint.
Oh, that is interesting. Dryer lint?
That is such a circular economy. Like, just... Okay.
Oh, somebody said don't clog up the toilets. It's just what we need is a sanitary disaster. Okay. Okay, so everybody, I'm going to leave the annotate piece on.
Okay, just pause now. Stop.
But just pause writing. No vote. No, don't do any dots yet. Everybody, no stamping. Somebody put down their dog. I'm just not sure. Like, is the idea to wipe with the dog and then give the dog a shower? That's okay though. We're thinking wild, and I love it. So what we're going to do now is something our team uses a lot. Is we want to make a decision. So we talk about action. Choose something now. How do we actually do it? So we've got a ton of ideas here. Using that annotate button again, and with whatever stamp that you like, I want you guys to stamp around the idea that you think is the most interesting. But you only get one. And I'm counting every single stamp that you use. So if we go over, I know somebody cheated. All right. Crochet some TP. That is an interesting one. Oh,
that's getting the most votes.
A cat, soap and water. Ali, your bidet is losing to crocheting TP.
I just don't get it. So cat and crochet seems like our winners.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did this with you guys is, like, this is exactly what you can do with your teams when you're trying to brainstorm. By allowing people to actually just annotate their ideas, it's anonymous, so everyone feels they've had the say, and they can even, a wacky idea is there without identifying themselves. And then you get people to vote. And that's how easy it is to use this, to start quickly seeing, okay, where are the ideas filtering? And people could have voted on a really crappy idea, and that's fine, but at least that discussion will happen then afterwards, saying, okay, let's talk about crochets and or your cat. And
yeah, so
go ahead, Josh.
There's a really great point from Aaron is, how do you make it not look like a dumpster fire? Which I thoroughly enjoyed that, especially because of the background that Ali has. With this, you could be a little bit more methodical when you're moving things around. So me as the host, I have the option to go up and under annotate, I can select and move things around to organize it. And when you're doing this, you're going to spend more time. I'm just wanting you guys to experience it relatively quickly and then move on. And you also have to imagine how many people got online right now, Ali? We almost have 140, so we have 137 people. So that does make it seem really, really busy. But when you're doing this with 10 or 15 people, um, and as well as you can actually take the slide deck and build something into the slide deck where people can like pick a spot and then type into there. So you don't need to like make a whiteboard and do all of these things. You could just use simple PowerPoint and make a template, something that you can use for the team to kind of follow along. It'll make it much easier for the group to do it. Or yeah, like Ali mentioned, just have a blank slide. But for the purpose of today, this is about experiencing it and kind of, I'm enjoying the dumpster fire. It's really interesting to see everybody's ideas come on up. So I am going to clear everything just like that. Boom. Oh, who snuck that in there? Ali, you have to sing it now. You put it in.
Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. Sorry, okay, that's it.
All
All
right,
right.
Ali.
Okay. So here's another activity we think about is for a virtual meeting to be productive, what are your must-haves? So again, use the annotate, type in what are the absolutely essential must-haves to make your virtual meeting productive. So use your annotate and type it in and saying what are your must-haves. Agenda and purpose, strong facilitator, nice. Funny people, nice. Humor, engagement, coffee and tea, oh, nice. In a virtual meeting, we can have virtual coffee and tea for sure. Interactivity, right people in attendance. A lot of people said facilitator, a chair to keep people on point. Okay, good. This is great. Josh, anything that you see that you like?
The idea of the right people in attendance, that always gets me because I always seem to get invited to these things where there's 150 people included. And
Right.
my immediate response is like, do they really need me there?
Yes,
So then I show up, turns out they didn't actually need me there, and it feels like it was a waste of time. And then, it kind
that's
of
right.
kills the trust piece for me.
I
I,
like the one good internet connection. And you know what? The Zoom, we've had the best experience with Zoom in um, because of its bandwidth. And people are still able to put their videos on and still able to share. Otherwise, some of the other, like with Skype, didn't have a good kind of a experience with. So why don't we share with you guys what we think are kind of our must-haves, our min specs for virtual meetings. And we pretty much, most of them, few of them you've already touched base on in the group here. So I'll just wait for you, Josh, to turn the slide.
there you go, my friend. You should be
Thank
good
you.
to go.
Right. So when you think about a virtual meeting, this is kind of our team's kind of top 7, you can say. But what I want to focus on is in a virtual meeting, engagement and energy is the key. So the way to do that is you have to encourage people to unmute. You have to call on people to speak up and share. And the way to kind of get the energy moving, and you're kind of seeing how Josh and I have been doing it and Aaron been doing for the last couple of webinars, is we move fast. We don't pontificate too long on one thing because energy is key. And if we want to keep the group moving, so quick moves, make a decision fast, and keep moving the part of the conversation going. And one of the things that's important is picking the best facilitator. It's not necessarily the chair. So we have to make sure the person who is the facilitator really knows how to keep everyone on time. We in our facilitation ask people permission from the beginning, saying, "I'm going to cut you off," or "We're going to keep this conversation going." So that's critical. Otherwise, your meetings, virtual meetings, can go overtime, but also we can really drain the energy. And last but not the least, debrief, debrief, debrief. After every meeting, our team kind of checks in with each other and saying, how bad was that? Did we achieve what we wanted to achieve? And that retrospective is critical because we really want to be constantly trying to make it better and be honest with each other. No, that was a really crappy meeting. We need to do this better. And we actually check in with our youngest team members, so to really, who are the millennials, who have really don't have that attention span to just keep listening to someone forever. So we check with our folks saying, was this too much a lengthy talk, or do we want to cut it shorter? So the debrief piece is critical. Next slide, Josh.
So in the world of co-design, which is, if you don't know what our team is really all about, we like to talk to people about, what is it that you'd like to learn, or what's your big challenge right now? So, and we're trying to always kind of adapt, and we know things are changing really rapidly every single day. So we would like to know from everyone here, what is something that you would like to learn from us? Maybe there's something that you're curious about, because we do want to keep pumping out these webinars where they're a lot of fun, but as well as just really continue to bring value to the community. So what is something that maybe you would like us to cover in our next series?
Pam wrote, what's your biggest Zoom bomb?
Oh, that's a good one. Ooh, generational gaps in fast, rapid communication.
Josh, do you mean specific to Zoom or just in general?
In general, like if there's anything, like we've said a couple times, I said Slack as a tool, and we got a couple emails. We're like, oh, what's Slack and how would you use it? So just in general, or I said design thinking or co-design. Maybe it's something you'd like to be learning about that a bit more. Maybe it's something about curiosity, just anything at all.
I think you read my comment. Oh, sorry.
I think one of the biggest bombs could be not talking about the issue that everyone's talking about, especially now. So that could be a bomb. It's like any other meeting, I suppose. What were you going to say, Jenna?
No, I was just going to add that I'm curious about how you honor the needs of the spectrum of people, right? So if you go with just millennials, the speed might be quite a different velocity than people that might need it at a slower rate. So navigating the both and without boring one segment, and then also, not alienating any segment either. So, and not even age, just learning speed, processing speed, type of learner. So just curious if you have any tips, tricks. But I like your bomb, Zoom bomb. I think that's going to be a new, that and Earl. I'm taking those away from this week.
Fantastic. Yeah, so we're going to take all of the things that people are putting in here and see if we can kind of generate something like another series for everybody. Maybe it is on Zoom bombs and things to avoid. I think that would actually be a fun one. So yeah, I appreciate everybody filling in that that box for us. As we head into the end, we're into that final 5 minutes now. The one thing, or one of the things I'd really like for you to take home is that idea of balance, the meeting agenda, and fun. And more so now than ever before, we are in a place where we're going to be having to work virtually. We're having less human interaction. And in healthcare, really any area of work, we're always worried about efficiencies. Like, let's get this thing done and move on from it. But we forget and we kind of stop having those human connections. So I want to encourage you guys, it's okay to digress. It's okay to have some levity. And it's okay to start a meeting with, how is everybody's mental health today? Or how is everybody feeling? And have those real conversations. That's what really matters. And if we can do that, everything else will just start to work. So I encourage you guys, please don't forget there's a human on the other end of that screen, but also don't forget, or sitting in front of it may need a little bit of a hand as well. So reach out. Ali, do you want to add anything?
No, this is this is what my favorite question I want to ask you guys. What has been your biggest aha in listening to these webinars? What are you taking away and that you're implementing right away? What are you gonna change? So type it in the chat box. Let us know what has been your biggest aha over these 3 webinars. How easy Zoom it is to, hell yeah. The meeting animals, nice. My sing.
Ali can sing. Are we sure we can take that away? He's got auto tune.
It's gonna be on my performance management thing, okay?
Our boss is listening. If no one but the leader talks, can you really keep things moving along? Just try and start using Zoom. I love introduce pets before the meeting. That's fun. Just possibilities. Ali, anything else sticking out to you before I go to the last slide?
Don't be, yeah, no, I think this is it. This has been really great. So take it away, Josh.
So this is a see you later, not goodbye. Like I said, we're going to take a look at those things that you've handed out to us as ideas moving forward. Thank you for joining us. I had a lot of fun. As you can tell, we are really passionate about encouraging teams to work differently. So if you're interested about hearing more about us, follow us on Twitter, send us a DM on Instagram, go to our website. And the last thing I'd like to throw into there is I'm running a course with the rest of my team on design thinking. And it's actually going to be a virtual design thinking school. So if you go to our website, d4ahs.com, and you look up virtual design school, you will see a 6-week course where there's 1 hour per week where we're going to be teaching people how to work like we do using design thinking within the healthcare space. I encourage you to check it out. It's totally free. It might be a great way to see some of the different tools that we use. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. And I'm looking forward to seeing a message in my Twitter box or a new email, and just to reach out from somebody new.
Music, Josh.
Music to end the day.
We need a fun one.
There we go.
Whoa. Everything's commercials. I wasn't prepared for this, Ali. I wasn't prepared.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Sure. What?
Are you purposeful in the timing? Like, I noticed that these are 30 minutes. So is that like you choose that amount of time because you feel like that's good enough?
Yes.
Okay.
So the idea is that we want to keep the energy and keeping things moving. And I always find for some reason people book an hour and it's like this standard that we have. It's like, oh, we need a meeting. Let's send an hour. And as a team, we always like to challenge it, but B, also be like, when it's me booking it, we'll just book a half an hour and make sure it's really action oriented. And we always warn people, like, so we're starting something, we're like, okay, this may feel like it's moving really fast. We're making quick decisions. So they have an idea of what's going to happen within that 30 minutes or maybe even an hour.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions anyone has? Unmute.
This is the VIP post-session party. Ali's got the dance.
There's the dance view. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Feels like another day. Sorry. Another day in lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
I work with someone who thinks 2.5 hours is a cool meeting. Oh, yeah. Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great weekend, Neil.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
We got a whole family affair down there with Pam. Hi, guys.
I like that. That's work-life balance.
Thanks.
Yes.
This was fun.
Thanks, everyone.
You're so welcome, Marilyn. Hope you enjoyed it.